around employment opportunities. We've submitted, they were a two-stage process. The first stage was a letter of interest where they will look for eligibility and alignment. After you went through that letter of interest, you are able to submit a full application. We were successful in the letter of interest, and we submitted a full application as well. At a later time, they've also sent us through email some clarifying questions. We've been able to provide those clarifying questions, and we've been informed that we will hear news whether we've received the fund or not by April, end of April. That's all the updates in terms of this fund. And the fund we've applied for is around making sure that Regent Park is able to leverage its capacity as a neighborhood. We have an ecosystem of employment organizations. We have organizations that support people around an employment pathway. So we've sent an application around how, as a neighborhood, as a network, we can create two pathways. One pathway is around an employment pathway, making sure that job opportunities that come from investments from the developers, job opportunities that come from both developers, that we as a community are able to make use and are ready for those opportunities. So we're setting up what's called an employment pathway for jobs. The other one is called an entrepreneurial pathway. This is a pathway for everybody in the neighborhood who's an entrepreneur, how we can best support them and how we can best engage them in their entrepreneurial pursuits. So we've submitted that application on a model called the Connected Communities Work. This one is an approach developed by a group called the Center for Connected Community. And it's all about how neighborhoods could leverage their capacity to make sure that opportunities of jobs and development could be taken advantage of. So hopefully we'll hear good news on this. And I want to thank everybody who's worked very hard so that we can prepare and send this application, from the developers to Toronto Community Housing, to Yonge Street Mission, to all of our partners in the neighborhood, Dixon Hall. Everybody really contributed to the development and design of the application. We've had back-to-back meetings and conversations, and I felt really happy the level of support we've reached from everybody. So I want to thank everybody who supported us on this front. I'll bring it back to you, Gil.
You have one question in the chat from Naomi. How much is the funding and over what period of time?
Yeah, so the funding is 200 grand and is over 2 years.
Excellent. And Soraya has her hand up. Go ahead, Soraya.
Yeah, what is the purpose of the funding? Is that to hire someone to help the community members, or what is the funding for?
Yeah, so the funding is for us to first understand what's called the connected community approach, how as a neighborhood, we have a lot of organizations that are doing this, are doing that. The idea is, how can we get everybody who's working on employment, how can we all come together and make sure that when job opportunities come from, for example, Tridel, that everybody in this neighborhood, they know what the job is. They're able to get all the supports they need in order to be ready for that job. Is it only a resume help? Do they need to go back to get certification? Do they need to go back to college? From A to Z, what it looks like for this person to get a job, and what supports they need. So the first initial stage is for everybody in our neighborhood to understand the pathway and what supports needs to exist. And that's the first part. The second part is we will need to hire someone who's what's called an integrator, someone who can work on the ground with young people, on the ground with people who need jobs, but also work with the developer and the Toronto Community Housing, with all the organizations, so that all the supports are ready for the person, for anybody in the neighborhood who wants a job. So the bulk of the job is what's called an integrator, someone who would do that work. And there's 2 phases to it. I can send you the proposal if you need more details.
So the two proposal to hire someone to help the community members, and to find out what is the gaps.
Yes.
Does that answer your question, Soraya?
Yeah, sorry, Gail. EED has done in the past the survey, and also the report was last summer was giving out in the cultural bazaar.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
So this is like to find that kind of...
Not the same at all. Yeah, not the same at all.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, not the same at all. So this is how all of these organizations, all of the employment organizations, economic development organizations, grassroots organizations, the residents, the businesses, how do we all connect around employment and economic development? How do we create that type of system? And I think you would say to me, certainly, that when you look at agencies, we don't see them connected to some of the work that we're doing, right? And that's some of the feedback that we've heard. When we look at some businesses, we don't see that connection to the community. So how do we all connect together to ensure there's good economic employment and economic development for Regent Park as a whole? And I see there's a question from Fatima. You want to ask your question?
Yeah, I was just wondering, I mean, it didn't have to be out loud, but I was wondering if there was anybody that's joining this meeting representing an employment agency in the neighborhood. I'm just out of curiosity. I don't see any names that I recognize from employment agencies, but I wanted to know if I was missing anyone. Is Dixon Hall in the house?
YSM is obviously here.
Yeah, but just to, I guess, maybe.
Yeah, we have that. We have to have that. That's one of our questions later on as well.
Helpful. It's just helpful to know, but I think that the YSM team that typically works on these things is the community development team, not their employment arm. So. Got you.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying. See, I didn't even know that until yesterday. So thank you.
And I guess, like, Hassang, I think you're with YSM, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's my understanding.
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Okay. The next up is Celebrate Regent Park event. Ibrahim, actually, not Ismail, this is for you. Oh,
yeah, yes.
You have your hand up? Sorry. Go ahead, Inez.
I just have a question regarding to what Fatima was saying. You're talking about employment from the city?
Sorry, yeah, no, I meant just like some of the employment agencies, right, in the neighborhood. So Dixon Hall, for example, that operates or was operating out of the community center, as well as Toronto Employment Social Services, along with, I think, there's the Community Health Center, for example, has some employment initiatives as well that they run. I think it's like, I can't remember the exact name now, but they've got a program as well. And I'm just curious to see if there's anybody from those organizations and from those programs.
Okay, thank you. The reason why I'm asking is because, okay, some of these agencies are here, and we have to talk real, guys. Some agencies are here. It's who are they really putting into work to hire? Who are they hiring? Because there's been agencies here for decades, but because money is just coming in, all of a sudden agencies are saying, well, we're doing this, we're doing that. And where were they back then? I'm sorry, I'm just being realistic of the stuff that has been happening. All this money is coming in Regent Park. All of a sudden everybody is, well, we're here, we're doing A, B, and C. It's just mind-boggling how things are going. And it's like one committee is trying to do more than what it's supposed to be when it was supposed to be from decades back. I'm just putting it on the table.
Yep.
So you have to be really cautious of who has been doing the work from a long time, comparing it to now. And I'm going to keep on repeating myself. All this money coming in, everybody's jumping in. Thank you.
Yeah, Inez, I agree with you. I think that's a great point. I think my question is just, to Ismail's point about having someone be an integrator is super important. But they have to have someone to integrate, because the agencies are those groups that have programs and things like that. And so an integrator you know, we'll be able to kind of connect all of the dots in the neighborhood, including the dots, the programs that, you know, Tridel works on and Daniels works on and TCHC works on. But they'll have to connect the dots with agencies as well who need to definitely step up for sure.
Well, thanks for sharing, Inez. Thanks for sharing, Fatima and Ibrahim. All right, let me check that we don't have any other questions. No other hands raised. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. I just wanted to invite all of you guys that on March 23rd, the SDP through community building is hosting a physical event at Daniel Spectrum, celebrating the work that the whole network has done while we were in COVID. We will be reporting back to the community on many of the things that we have done together in each committee. We will also be hosting a stakeholders table and also many things that are happening. Each table is highlighting so many things. So the communication table is also launching the community app. We are also trying to get drives for the newsletter and the weekly Regent Park TV. So we're inviting everybody to show up, come join the community. Let's celebrate together. There will be food, catered Egyptian cuisine. There will be a band, some music. So first time since the lockdown that we can come together and celebrate. Each table will have information sessions to give to the community. Some stakeholders also asked for some tables to share information. So definitely looking forward to it. That is all I'm saying right now. Hopefully you can join us and come celebrate with the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Ibrahim. If you can also put the poster in the chat, that would be great. And then more people can have access to that poster.
I am ahead of you. It's already in the chat.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's the Google Drive thing. Oh, okay. I was looking for an image. And yeah, I echo what Ibrahim is saying. We should all come out and support because we have some entrepreneurs from this group who will also be at the market. So next up, we have 2 job opportunities, again, that Ismail is going to share.
Hi, everyone. So there are 2 job opportunities that the Employment and Economic Development Working Group is looking to hire. The first one is an admin coordinator for the employment table. And the other one is an employment lead to do to coordinate and lead the big project we're on. Job opportunities are, apologies, I have family members in the back room. Job opportunities are posted in Facebook, WhatsApp, and all the neighborhood channels. Please, if you know someone looking for an opportunity, please connect them to this job opportunity. I'll make sure I'll put the link of the job posting on the chat. These are an admin coordinator and a lead coordinator. Please connect with everybody you know of, and hopefully we'll get a Regent Park resident into the position. Thank you.
Yeah, so one of the things I'll add to that is that, you know, when we put this job posting out, we got 1 applicant. So, you know, the plea here is that you share it within your networks. But, you know, that's surprising that we only got 1 applicant if we say that employment is indeed a challenge in this community. So share as much as you can. And next update is evaluations and benchmark, and that would be Sarah or Mirwan. I don't think either of them are here. No, okay, so I guess we don't have that update. But Daniela, are you back with us, and can you introduce yourself? Leah, are you here, and can you introduce yourself as well?
Hi, sorry, I just stepped away for a minute.
No, that's all right, you're allowed.
Okay, turn on my
Go ahead, introduce yourself and tell us why you're here.
So my name is Leah Georges. I'm the Access to Space Coordinator in Regent Park. Yeah, so I've been working for quite some time now in gathering information from like residents, grassroots groups, organizations, youth, in accessing space in Regent Park. So I was more focusing on the space that's already here with the agencies and organizations such as TCHC, the City of Toronto, certain organizations. I did speak with a couple people on this Zoom call from YSM, Daniel's Spectrum, actually at Dixon Hall right now in their space, seeing how I could even access the space here and with some youth. So yeah, pretty much that's what I do. And yeah, so I will be providing a list with the spaces in Regent Park. It'll be completed in about 2 weeks. So I will send that list to everybody. And I will provide my email as well. So if we haven't been in communication, please send me an email so you can get this list. And pretty much, yeah, that's everything.
So, sorry, thank you, Leah. So you said you're working on a project related to space. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay, and I believe Waleed also is doing something related to space. I hope you guys have connected.
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. And Waleed, I think you have an announcement, so go ahead.
I just want to remind everyone that tomorrow at 12 o'clock is the deadline to submit your space needs form. I will share the link to the survey form in the chat, and also my email address, so I could also send you some helpful information that will help you complete the form. We've got about 14 groups that have filled out the form so far, which is a pretty good for the 1 week of outreach that we've done. So I'm hoping by tomorrow we'll have about 15 to 16, maybe 20 groups participate. So if you know any group that requires space now or in 10 years, we want to hear from that group. Any group that's supporting the Regent Park community is welcome to submit that form. Forward, I hope you can pass it on to as many youth groups or grassroots organizations that you know of. And I want to thank folks from the city, specifically Daniela and others who circulated to groups as well. So just as a note, if you do need support with filling out the form, I'm accessible via phone and via email, and I'll include all that information on the chat. Thank you so much, Gail.
You're welcome. All righty. Any other announcements anybody would like to share? I see Naomi's hand up.
Yes, I have a question about how the EED table works around, jobs. Like, do you have a job bank, or do you have some sort of centralized area where you list jobs, like on the RPNA website or something like that?
We do not have a centralized location. What we do have as a
app is coming.
Yes. So as a connected community, what we do have are many pieces. And one of those pieces is an app that is coming. So make sure you come out March 23rd to learn about the app and sign up, because apparently there's prizes if you sign up. Of course, we advertise wherever and however we can. So we share that with, online, RPNA website, the different WhatsApp groups. I think there's some policies and stuff around the agency sharing out these types of opportunities. But again, those are the types of things that we should be tackling at this table, right? How do we get agencies and other organizations that are mandated to support this community? How do we get them connected to the work that we are all doing, right? SDP is one entity, RPNA is another entity. You have the Learning Center, and the list is endless, right? So how do we get everyone connected towards that common goal? Because I think everybody's common goal is better employment, sustainable employment, and, as Abraham said, independently wealthy. Like, we all want the same things.
Yeah, like I'm also curious about maybe a talent bank as well. Like, it's one thing to throw out a job opportunity, but it would be really nice to know, like, what are the talents in the community? And I don't know how you would gather that, and if that's even in your mandate, but just to get a sense of, like, I know the RPNA is working on a volunteer recruitment strategy. I'm not sure where that's at this point, but I remember being part of those calls and providing feedback and so on. But you know, like is there, or could there be like a repository somewhere of, you know, a list of, I don't know, how many accountants live in the community, how many entrepreneurs, and breakdown by entrepreneurial sector, I guess, and then how many doctors, how many lawyers, how many, right? Because like organizations are also looking for people to staff their boards of directors, or for people to offer expertise. So it's like, if you have, say, I'm just going to throw out an example, you know, someone who works in the fundraising sector, who you know, who may have a couple of hours a week to either volunteer or perhaps be available on a contract to provide some sort of services to organizations. Like I'm talking more personally, because, you know, Acorn Arts Project is fairly small and grassroots, and we're still constructing our governance and building our expertise and our board of directors and so on. But, you know, we would love to draw from the community. Like so far I draw from my LinkedIn list or from people I know, right? But I would love to know, you know, that there's a whole spectrum of talent in this community. And it's like, you know, those are the people I want. These, you know, we serve this community. So I would rather staff those positions from the community, people who understand the community, who know what the needs are, and who can provide valuable insight to us as an organization. Because, you know, we're kind of we're kind of new, even though, I mean, we've been here 5 years, but then from those 5 years, you have to subtract 2 years because of COVID.
Yeah. No,
but you know what I mean? So it's like, I'd love to know that there's a resource here and how to access that. And now I'm going to shut up.
No, that's good. And we'd love someone to lead a project like that. So if you'd like to raise your hand, you know, I'm not shy about telling you we need help. Absolutely. And you know, we're starting 2022 and trying to understand who wants to participate at this table and what do they want to participate doing. I think that's part of what we need to look at. And then the other piece of that is ourselves as a team finding resources to assist us, right? I have a full-time job. You know, Ismail has a full-time job. So can we do administration? We can't, right? So there's all of those pieces. What we do have, and I can share that research with you. We usually share it along with the minutes, but we have some research that was done, and part of that we have what we have is a repository of all the employment and economic development places in Regent Park, or what we think is, you know, a fairly decent list. But what you'll see in the chat as well is both Fatima and so both Daniels and Tridell indicating that they also have a website with job opportunities listed. But I think what you're looking for is how many accountants in Regent Park and how many doctors and how many lawyers. And yeah, that may be something that somebody wants to lead. Maybe we can add it to our priority action list because the list is long.
Yeah, and it might be something that you'd want to get funding for, right? Like this is clearly a research project that will have a significant impact going forward. And, you know, maybe it's, you know, you hit up a foundation or something for that kind of dough, right? Like it's a lot.
Well, the stakeholders meeting is on the 23rd, and we hope you come out, and then you can also raise that point there, because then there'll be lots of agencies there, more stakeholders there that are from the community. And I think that would be a great point to raise as well.
Sure.
See how I'm trying to get you to the mark.
No, that's great. But I know you're going to be putting it in your minutes too. And because this isn't a table I typically sit at, I just as an outsider, like that to me seems like important. So but it clearly is on your radar as well. So that's great. But yeah, I will be at that meeting, but you know, in case I forget to mention it, just make sure that someone from your table does.
Absolutely. Michael, I hear you in the background. Go ahead.
Yeah, so at some point during last year, I had put together some work plan suggestions for things related to changing job descriptions, another one for discussions about the economy and modernization and technology issues, and also from previous discussions as well, including the job description and working with employers in the employment strategy. So over the next few months, I'll sort of bring back some of those work plans and see if people are interested in doing anything in those areas.
Thank you for sharing, Michael. Any other questions? I don't see any hands, but Ismail, if you can help me with hands, that'd be great as well. This is about a new group that came out of, that's under the umbrella of the Employment and Economic Development Working Group, and it's a women's entrepreneur group. And this came about because it doesn't exist in Regent Park. So I've had conversations with about the 3 women's groups that exist in Regent Park, and they support women, but not directly in terms of entrepreneurship. I also had a conversation with a couple female entrepreneurs who were looking for more exposure for their business. I am also an entrepreneur, and I found that for me, it was extremely difficult. But then when I started to do some research, I realized there is so much out there. And I, so I was able to tap into all those things that I found. Then I started to do some further research, right? And I found that 10 women since the COVID pandemic, that women are 10 times more likely than men to have fallen out of the labor force, right? And this comes from the Canadian Women's Foundation. Then I found that the Canadian government has done some studies and found that by advancing gender equality and women's participation in the economy, Canada can add up to $150 billion to the GDP, right? Then I found that 16% of Canadian small businesses are owned, 16% of Canadian small and medium-sized businesses are owned by women, right? In 2019, 97% of businesses were small business. 97% of all businesses in Canada were small businesses, but 16% of those businesses are owned by women. So the federal government in 2021, their budget, they announced $100 million for organizations to launch new projects or scale up past projects that increase women and girls' participation in Canada's economy, in social, in democratic, and political life. And then there was an announcement in 2021 in August by Minister Ng and Marcy Ng around the Women's Entrepreneurship Loan Fund. So there's a women's entrepreneurship strategy that the government has funded, and it includes 3 areas. It includes Women Entrepreneurship Loan Fund, the WS Ecosystem, which is a mentorship to grow businesses, and there is also a knowledge hub. So, this is where this came from, right? And certainly a strong opportunity here to support women entrepreneurs. And, even in our own backyards, when we go to the bazaar, it's mostly women entrepreneurs. So there is certainly a need. So this is how we've laid out the group. We're looking at 4 areas of support. A couple of things here. We do not want to duplicate anything that is being done. We know that there are trainings happening in this community. We know that there's coaching happening in this community, and we want to connect with those groups and those organizations rather than duplicate what they're doing. So these 4 areas, starting with peer support, we are there for each other, whether it's to share ideas, to share resources, to share concerns, or simply to spend time together. We are unique maybe, yes, because we are women. We are different to men. I don't know how else to put it, but you know, we require different supports as compared to men. And you know, there's enough equity in the world that stops us from you know, realizing our full potential. The next area is coaching, and this is where we look at one-on-one supports, whether it's to create a business plan, marketing, grow your business, social media, whatever that one-on-one coaching needs to be. For myself as an entrepreneur, I have a coach who is a female, who is a woman entrepreneur as well. And I find that those sessions help me, you know, as I talk through different parts of what I'd like to do as a business owner. So I see a lot of value there. And then training, which is targeted, right? It focuses on the needs of that woman in her business, rather than a training that is, you may get a training from the city and it's got its own curriculum outlined. And what we want to do is have something that's more targeted to who we are supporting and what we need as women entrepreneurs. And the 4th area is business supports. These items are going to help us to be competitive, right? So that's all about the government supports that are out there. Funding, sales and procurement is big for any business, and certainly advertising and marketing. So that is the Women's Entrepreneur Group. What we would like from you would be your support, right? Share this with other women entrepreneurs that you know. Whatever type of agency you are at this table, again, share this as much as you can. If there are other businesses here, please share this group. Let the women entrepreneurs in Regent Park know that there's a space available for them. Share, support us. It all comes back to supporting women entrepreneurs. All of these things, maybe you are a procurement specialist and you can help support us. Whatever that is, I think we would gladly accept all types of supports. So I'm going to stop sharing and then take any questions that you may have. I don't see any hands. Fantastic. So our next.
Here.
Sorry?
I'm here. My hand was up.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Thanks, Gail. Yeah, I really appreciate this presentation. And what I was hoping we could discuss as a commentary is wraparound supports for women in business. I'm just thinking about all the challenges that women in business are dealing with, whether it's the pandemic and the slowdown, whether it's access to finance, so sustainable funding, whether it's capacity building, resources and training. So I'm just wondering if, as part of like the research that was done that you talked about in the presentation, how we intentionally building supports for women who are choosing to become entrepreneurs. What really bothers me is, there've been amazing women leaders in our community who've come up with business plans, but haven't been able to secure city funding, although the community has recommended that the city fund those projects. So how do we ensure that those groups, those women are supported through other opportunities for funding, startup, supports, but also mentorship, other women in business in the field, to help them navigate patriarchy, sexism, and all the biases that come with society when you're addressing the community, and how to find allies, how to find support systems as well, right? So there's a lot of things, the research that I've come across on how those supports are put in play in communities. So I'm just wondering if we've had that conversation at this table.
Yeah, so the conversation certainly happens at the Women's Entrepreneur Group, right? It's a women's space. We want to keep that a safe space. And one of the keys with this organization or this group, let me say organization, this group, Grassroots, we are again, the ask always is, what do you need, right? We are not prescribing to anyone. And that's why I said, we're not going to George Brown to do their course, unless somebody says, I want to go to George Brown and do marketing 101, right? So what do you, that female female entrepreneur, need? That's the simplest question we have for everyone. And we are asking that question every time we meet. We meet every Friday. And we're going to continue to build as a woman-led organization. We're all leaders and all leadership, leadership of, if there's 30 of us, the leadership of 30. But the focus, you know, a woman knows what she needs, right? And when you have that safe space, she's able to speak and say what she wants for her business. And some people want a large business. Some people want a micro business. They want to do weekend. They want to do evenings. They want to supplement their income. They have kids. Like, those are all of the conversations that we are having as women collectively, right? I wouldn't know about that. I don't have any kids, but I got 3 nieces and a nephew. So I know what's up, right? You know, so we are having the conversation. And that's the first part of doing anything, is having a conversation. So we welcome all supports. You find research, you're like, this would be great for you guys, send it over, we will take it. regentparkeed@gmail.com. We accept all kinds of support, so appreciate that. So next up is a presentation by the TCHC team. I believe that's led by Fouad, and he is going to share the employment opportunities available to the community. Fouad, are you there?
Yep. Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me. I'm here to share just a couple different opportunities that are coming up. But before I go into sharing, I've started in this role about 7 months ago, and I've had the privilege of joining the EED Leadership Committee. And then we're here to support. Just a little bit of a background. I have a degree in entrepreneurship, focusing around marketing. And one of the reasons why I was excited to support the EED table is the fact that one of the research papers I had to do was actually, how do we bring entrepreneurship to our communities, which was a long time ago. So, and I'm really excited to be able to dabble in that hat again. And I will definitely forward any resources that I have to the group so that they're able to utilize as well. But I just wanted to share that little sentiment, but just a couple opportunities. Let me just first go to the full view slideshow. So some of these you've seen in our mailer, but I just wanted to bring them up. So just one of our investing in our diversity scholarships opportunity. The investing in our scholarship, that diversity scholarships are awarded each year to Toronto youth based on academic excellence, financial eligibility, and community leadership. These students receive up to $4,000 to pursue post-secondary studies or professional training. So who's eligible for that scholarship? A Canadian citizen or permanent resident, 29 years of age or younger as of May 2022, a Toronto community housing tenant, or living in the Scadding-Court Community Centre catchment area, so Lake Ontario to the south, Bloor Street to the north, Yonge Street to the east, and Lansdowne Avenue. Planning to attend a recognized Canadian post-secondary educational or training program, and also not a previous recipient of the scholarship itself. So again, first or returning student scholarships can receive up to $4,000 towards tuition fees for their full time, and then some personal enrichment workshops. How you can apply is you can visit. What I'm also was going to ask is, Gail, can I share this presentation with you and Ismail to give to the participants? Perfect. So right after I'm done, I will forward this presentation directly to Gail and Ismail, and we will make sure that's available to all of you. When you go there and you apply, you will see there's the application form, some frequently asked questions. So the deadline for this is coming up March 18th, 2022 at 5 p.m. Once the forms are completed, you can email them to youth@torontohousing.ca or mail or drop off to the Toronto Community Housing 931 Yonge Street office. And then you just put attention investing in our diversity scholarship. And then these, Toshania Williams is one of the contacts. So through her email, you can directly contact. And then these are some of our CSCs that are in their specific catchment areas that you can reach out to. But like I said, I will make that available for you after the presentation. And now moving on to the start, we're talking about entrepreneurship. So we have this opportunity where if you're interested in starting a business, it's a Black Business Essentials, is a 5-part workshop series during which Black entrepreneurs receive essential entrepreneurial training to help their build successful companies. If you identify as a Black entrepreneur, it's a great opportunity to get some material, get some information, learn from business professionals directly. There is a link to register, and the registration is actually due tonight. So today's the last day to register, and the workshops will be happening over a week. But once you click on the registered link on the Eventbrite, you will get much more details in there in terms of the specific speakers and what time they're going to be speaking, and it will be done virtually via Zoom. And then our last piece is our TCHC People Leaders 2022 Tenants Internship Program. So this is not just within Regent Park, but under TCHC as a whole. The goal of this program is to help Toronto community housing youth and other unemployed or underemployed individuals living in our communities use their education to acquire work experience through a 12-week paid internship. So the internship is going to start between Monday, May 23rd to August 12th. And then the fall internships would be Monday, September 12th, ending on Friday, December 2nd. If you are interested, or if you know others that are interested, please email us at the talkregion@torontohousing.ca. We'll make sure to pass that information on. But one of the things is I don't know necessarily the details associated to how much they're paid, but what I can tell you is that we've had last year, we had about 49 different tenants that actually were placed into internship opportunities. And some of these internship opportunities actually turned into long-term employment within that as well. That is the end of my presentation for some of the opportunities. I am going to, again, share that slideshow right now with Gail and Ismail. Thank you so much for having me here, and any questions?
Sorry, Fawad, if you can just, I'm gonna put it in the chat, but if you can just tell me the 3 programs. I've got internship, Black Entrepreneur Workshop, and the third one?
Well, it was scholarships.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Fuad, can you put the link of the one that's due tonight in the chat?
Yeah, let me do that right now, for sure.
Oh, just a reminder, what's due tonight? What's the deadline?
Tonight is for the, if you identify as a Black entrepreneur, there is a series of workshops for Black entrepreneurs that's being hosted. And then tonight you can register on the link that I'm providing. It's due tonight, the registration. We also put this out in our mailer last week as well.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. The session's already started, right?
No, they're starting tomorrow. Wednesday.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will put that in the link right now. I mean, in the chat, sorry.
Identify as Black, you should definitely sign up, especially if you're an entrepreneur. I signed up because I'm Black and I'm an entrepreneur and I need all the help I can get. So we've got Leah's hand is up, and then Naomi. Go ahead, Leah.
Hi,
yeah.
How old do you have to be for the internship? For
Fawad.
Yes, 1 second. So I was just doing multiple things. 1 second, I got you. For the internship, I'm going to find out for you. Let me find out for you. I'll find out the specific details. Give me 2 minutes right now, and I'll come right back in and get the official for you. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
No problem, Leah. I'm so sorry, not you. I know you're not Leah. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
I will find out for you right now.
And Naomi.
Yeah, my question is for Fawad as well. I want to know what is the nature of the internships? Like what are the skill sets they're looking for and so on?
I mean, it's one of those ones where we want to make sure we provide those like stepping stones that you were mentioning earlier, but there's a lot of administrative. It could be in various departments. It could be with the Revite team. It could be with the accounting department. It could be with procurement. We're just trying to expose and provide those opportunities.
So it's largely like office.
That's right. That's right.
Duties and skills. Okay, great.
That's right.
Great. Thank you.
No problem.
And we'll get the answer for Fawad shortly for Leah and her teammate. Any other questions? I'm just checking the chat. I don't see any other hands raised. And let me check the chat to make sure there's nothing, and I see nothing. Thanks for providing your information again. Okay, our next presentation is from the Daniels team. Yay!
So, all right. Hi, everyone. I mean, I introduced myself earlier. I think I'll just quickly introduce myself again, just because I know that there have been folks that have trickled in as the meeting has gone on, and there might be some folks that I don't know. So my name is Fatima. I'm with the Daniels Corporation, Senior Manager of Social Impact. So I work on everything related to local economic development, community engagement, and social infrastructure development in the neighborhood. I know most people at this table. We've done a lot of great work together in the past. Also going to be supporting alongside Tridel and TCHC, the EED table leadership. And so looking forward to being a bigger part of this committee and seeing how we can support it. What I will share today is just some updates around employment opportunities and other updates that we have. And if you have any questions, just feel free to stop me throughout. Happy to answer questions, during the presentation. I'll actually pull up quickly before I forget the chat in case someone wants to ask something in the chat. All right, so with that first update, oh, Leah, is your hand up for me? Old hand, new hand?
Oh, if it's me, it's an old hand, sorry.
Oh, okay,
yeah, that's a new hand. We're just waiting for Fawad, so go ahead. Fine.
Cool, awesome. All right, so first update. I'm actually going to take the opportunity quickly to reintroduce my colleague and sort of pass it to her to introduce herself a little bit more. But Daniels has just, a new team member. We just have a new team member joining us, Alma Betancourt, who's the Employment Initiative Manager, and we're really excited to have her join our team. Alma, I'm happy to throw it to you so you can introduce yourself and share a little bit about what you're going to be doing with us.
Yeah, actually, yeah, thank you. So I'm Alma Betancourt. I just started yesterday with the Daniels group. Like I said before, I attended that meeting yesterday. I've been listening to what you guys are saying. I was going through the survey. I think Ismail sent the survey and just listening to what you're saying, like everybody's saying right now. I'm very, very excited to be working with the Daniels team in employment. I have been working in the employment area for many, many years, and I'm hoping to bring in that experience. I'm thinking we still have a couple of meetings to go to do with Fatima and sort of like creating the vision of what we're going to do moving forward. Just listening to what everybody has been saying right now, I love the idea of the job postings. I'm very hands-on when it comes to job postings and employment and resumes and things like that. I love the idea of maybe creating info sessions, something that we will. Sorry, I see that there's a question. If you can see, share your information. Okay, yeah, no, I will be sharing information. Just giving a little bit of what I will be doing in the future. But like I was saying, I like the idea of doing info sessions to kind of break down the job postings. I'm not a big fan of just sending out job postings, because I know that on the other end of the job seekers, a lot of the times the language is complicated. They may not realize what skills that they already possess that can, be useful, be transferable to the position that they would be applying for. So working on that is something that I'm very excited about, and maybe moving forward, we can work on that with Fatima and the team. The idea of resources, directory, great idea, sharing the existing resources within the community, because that is the idea, right? That the employment is gonna come back to the community. And even postings that exist today, what skills do you need to prepare in the future, maybe 3 months down the road, to fill those roles and that kind of thing. Gail, you were talking about women and entrepreneurship. There was a report from the government saying, COVID, how it hit unemployment, but what the groups that were hit the hardest, and the groups that were hit the hardest were women, students, and people in the service industry. And so those numbers are going to be higher. So coming in and joining groups like this, maybe not necessarily having to reinvent the wheel, but bringing speakers that will have knowledge that can guide all these different groups that need it into what they can do moving forward. But that conversation we will be having in the future. and just, you know, coming up with ideas. Super happy to be joining this group today. Thank you, Fatima.
Thanks, Alma. We're really happy to have you joining us as well. We feel very lucky to have your expertise, so it's going to be great. Just a little bit, you know, of background on Alma's role, and I mean why we're really excited to have her is just as the revitalizations phases 1 through 3 have sort of gone on. You know, we had this discussion, Inez made the point earlier around, you know, employment agencies being around, but there's still being a bit of a gap in terms of like what the services are that they're providing. And we totally hear that because we've worked very closely with a lot of the employment agencies in the neighborhood and have, you know, seen those gaps as well, just in terms of access to the community. And a lot of times it has to do with what gets funded. You know, we know that Tchc was a big employment partner in the revitalization, and as their mandate has changed, their focus is now, you know, on ODSP and Ontario Works recipients, and they don't necessarily have that hands-on approach with job seekers in the neighborhood and from the neighborhood. So really, you know, similarly to how the Tridel team has ASAL doing that kind of on the ground employment support for folks looking for work, Alma is going to support that as well. So tons of resources is the point in the community available. The more the merrier, and we're just really happy to have Alma here. So that's that first update. All right, next slide, if I can find my mouse. There we go. All right, employment opportunities. So, you know, Gail yesterday was encouraging us when we were talking about the agenda for today to think of questions. And I guess this isn't necessarily a question for a like data collection perspective, but I thought it would be an interesting one to ask the group nonetheless, which is, you know, do you know where to find employment opportunities available through phase 3 of the Regent Park revitalization? And people can just kind of pop in the chat if you know or don't know. Historically, they were found through the Tchc job portal, which during the pandemic, right, they've been redeployed, and so that's been unavailable. So if you don't know the answer, that's okay, because it's been pretty tricky to find them. We've actually developed in partnership with TCHC a website where we can post not only jobs, but opportunities.
But before you continue, let's pause. I would like to hear this group say if they know, yes or no.
Yeah.
If we don't know, how can we, you know, do this work?
I mean, to be fair, we've just launched the website at the beginning of March, Gail, and it was launched through the Regent Park newsletter, but not everybody would have caught that maybe in the past 2 weeks.
Okay, Ibrahim says he knows. That's good, but he's usually in every freaking meeting, so of course he knows.
Well,
so yeah, I'm gonna go from the silence that folks don't know.
And that's okay. That's why I'm sharing it today too.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm wondering if the stuff is out on social media, Fatma, like, and what's the purpose of this website? Is it to inform folks of employment opportunities in Regent Park or in development? Daniel's, like, I just wanted more details.
Yeah, totally. So the purpose of this website is really to inform folks or share job opportunities, particularly those that are being made available through phases 1 through 3. Asal and Maggie made a comment in the chat that there is also a Tridel focused website for phases 4 and 5. And, you know, it is, you know, one of the things that I think we're all going to talk about is, you know, we have these 2 websites and wanting to make sure that they're aligned or that folks are able to find them in one place. And we're working on that. So TCHC is actually working on their Regent Park landing page on their website, being able to find employment opportunities through both phases 1 through 3 and 4 and 5. So we are working on kind of like having a streamlined access point. But the point of this is really to share jobs, right? Historically, all of the jobs were shared through Tchc lead. Like that was the point, that was Tchc's role. But because they've been redeployed and haven't posted jobs for the last 2 years, and even when they did post jobs, didn't have the reach in the community that we really needed, because we weren't seeing anybody really apply for those jobs, right? In 2019, I posted 10 jobs and got 5 resumes total. So in order to combat that, we said, you know what, let's actually have a centralized location that I and my team and Alma and Daniels can update with job opportunities that are internal to Daniels that are potentially connected to retailers in the neighborhood, whether that be service jobs or jobs with employers like RBC, et cetera, as well as with our trades and our consultants. So this is going to be like a centralized location for all of those opportunities that come through Regent Park, the revitalization phases 1, 2, and 3. And it really is our response to, the system that wasn't working.
Thank you so much for that really detailed answer. Really appreciate it, Fatma. And I understand there were gaps in the past, and this is an attempt to fix those gaps and make sure folks are aware of those opportunities. I put in the chat whether Daniels organizes a job fair.
Yeah, great question.
I asked that specific questions because it's come up in so many of the conversations I've had with members of the community when I do outreach. Yeah. And also came up at a community building working group meeting. And I thought it would be best placed at this table at Economic Development and Employment for discussion because there's a lot of interest for that. A lot of people want to know what opportunities exist in Regent Park, but also how to best prepare for interviews. Yeah. So much has changed. This pandemic has altered how we reimagine work, right? When it comes to spaces, when it comes to resources. So folks will actually benefit from a job fair that is connected to capacity building or prep so that we prepare Regent Park residents for those opportunities, not just leave them, on this, hey, here's a posting, apply, and not set them up for success. So I just want us to be more intentional in our recruitment and hiring practices so that we could meet the targets that we're aspiring for.
Yeah, well, thanks so much for your questions and everything. One of the things that I'll just share quickly is in your first question regarding job fairs. Absolutely. It's something that Daniels has actually done numerous times over the last 15 years. When RBC was moving into the neighborhood, we worked with them to hire on, to host a job fair. They hired on over 30 community members who they trained and were given employment at other branches and then brought back to the community branch when the branch opened. Similarly, we did something along the same lines with Shoppers Drug Mart as well. Done the same thing with Freshco. So these are all things that we've continued to do and are really looking at ways to do even further as time goes on. We've actually had really great conversations with TCHC and Tridel about a job fair, about a joint job fair. And so it is on our radar. The pandemic has made things a little bit trickier, and we know that it's harder on the one hand as a job seeker to find jobs due to the pandemic. On the other hand, for employers, it's also tough for them to sort of, do that sort of planning around employment, not knowing what's going to happen with closures and things like that. So we've been in a bit of a limbo. So understood that there hasn't been much that's happened around a job fair recently. But absolutely.
Do you know when you plan to do that, Fatma? Because what's disheartening is hearing from small business owners that have had to close down they don't have enough people.
Yeah.
They didn't hire enough people.
Fatima, can I just something to that? I think part of the strategic plan that we will have moving forward is identifying the new needs, because it's the new normal. Whatever we knew in the past is gone. And when it comes to employment, and I shared this statistic with the team yesterday, 85% of the positions that are going to be needed in 2030 don't exist yet. What happens is you fill in the gaps. And so we need to figure out what are the new positions? What is that going to look like? The labor market, is it changing? And in that, what skills of the existing skills that people have, what is going to be useful, and how do we transform that? And whatever it's lacking, how do we train people? Because the programs are already there. The training programs exist already. How do we make the connections to find those resources and then connect the people? Again, we don't have to reinvent the wheel, but job fairs, it's especially now that we can do them in person, and I think everybody is dying to do that, will be a great way to not only identify those needs, but also connect with the community and figure out the needs. What are the main needs of people that are seeking employment and other needs as well. It's not just employment. That's only part of it. It's other things that right?
And
Yeah.
EED also actually received a grant to do a job fair. And then COVID happened. So that job fair would have been quite different. It was about, you know, if you're in, let's say, the sciences, we're bringing all of the resources that are science related. So the universities, the schools, the employers, the mentors, the designated organizations or the trade organizations, the unions. We wanted it to be holistic rather than kind of come, show your resume, have that kind of flaky conversation, as I call it, and then move on. So I think we all have great ideas.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks so much, Gail, and Alma, thank you so much as well, and Waleed for your questions. And Waleed, your second question about preparing folks for employment, I will answer that shortly as well. Totally agree with that too. And I think we need to talk a little bit more about outreach when it comes to that, because it's something that we have been doing that isn't working. So maybe you can help, okay? Okay, so regentparkced.ca is the website now where folks can go if they're interested in looking at opportunities, CED opportunities, so community economic development opportunities provided through the revitalization. I'll focus on a couple of them today, but you can sort of take a look and explore as well. First thing quickly, so this is the website landing page, okay? And for jobs, you know, to look at what jobs are available, you just, at the top of the page, there's a place where you can click to look at the jobs. Okay, thanks Ismail for sharing it in the chat. And then on the jobs page, you'll see the employment opportunities that are sort of live at the moment, okay? So these are Daniel's job postings for the time being. And, you know, as jobs arise, we'll include those throughout, you know, every time sort of they arise, we'll add them to the website, right? Warren, like I'm just sharing, I mean, these job postings have been up for a while. I haven't received any applications from anybody, but I understand that it is a new system and folks are getting used to it. The warranty ambassador position, just to kind of throw it out there, folks, is a super entry level position. And if you know anyone who's looking for some work, you know, just ask them to go to this website, to click on the warranty ambassador, and they can apply. The application system really is pretty simple. They just have to send their resume to me. The instructions are on the sort of page that you go into when you click on each job posting. And so if you know anybody that would be interested, feel free to send them our way. But all of that will be on there. Okay. Okay, so upcoming training opportunities. And actually, maybe I'll go back to this page here to kind of give you a quick sense. We've got not just jobs, but as well opportunities for social purchasing. I think many folks will know that Daniels has a really robust social procurement program that we've been working to develop in Regent Park for many years. Local art procurement is the big one. We've spoken to a lot of folks about that, but everything from catering to photography to even security services. We work with a social enterprise security firm from the neighborhood to offer security services for our commercial portfolio. So all of those opportunities, you can reach out through this website as well. If you're a small business owner and you have an idea, absolutely feel free to reach out, and always happy to meet with folks to hear about what you're working on and what services you provide, and if there's a match and how we can work with you. So feel free to get in touch. And then training and initiatives, and I guess that's what I'm hopping to now, on just to talk about upcoming training opportunities really quickly. So there will be a craft program in 2022. The craft program is the pre-apprenticeship program that Daniels has developed in partnership with the College of Carpenters and Allied Trades and the YMCA. Craft Regent Park is a partnership as well with TCHC. The program is a really excellent way for Regent Park residents to access unionized jobs in the trades. Waleed, do you have a question?
I just went through the website and I saw one of your postings with regard to employment opportunities. I really love the language of inclusivity encouraging, Black, Indigenous, BIPOC applicants. That's really, really nice. But what's missing is the salary, right? And hours. Like I think that information is pertinent, so folks can have a sense of is this a livable income, or is it a livable salary? So they could weigh the options. So those details would be super helpful. And I'm sure you might have heard about this in the news, but organizations like Food Share Toronto are also paying the folks at the interview for attending the interview. I really love that idea. I thought it was very accessible, and I actually want to encourage employers to do that, to actually acknowledge that applicants will take time. They'll take time and labor to prepare for the interview. They may take a time off work to be prepared for an interview. So, compensating them for the interview is something that should be a norm, in my opinion. So just some suggestions with regards to helping with recruitment and supporting residents apply for those positions.
Thanks, Walid. I really appreciate those questions, and I totally hear that. It's something that I've also been following in the news around employers adding more details to job postings like salary and things like that. It's not something that we do corporately currently, but it's something that we can also, Alma and I can take back to our team because happily, as much as Alma is, working with the social impact team really closely, she's actually a member of our people and culture team. And so we can definitely take that feedback back to our team. And, it might be part of a larger discussion that we need to have as an organization. So I can't promise that it would happen or happen quickly, but, absolutely worth a discussion. And paid interviews, I did hear that this week as well, which is really exciting. Definitely happy to take that back to our team to see what's possible for us corporately. Okay. So the craft program, I'm being a little bit vague about the craft program because the ministry hasn't announced the dates yet for the program. And so I'm officially not allowed to announce the dates for the program, but I wanted to make sure that it was on folks' radar. It's going to come out later in the spring. And so just stay tuned for that. And I guess what I wanted to make sure was, as you stay tuned, how to find out more. Again, the website is the main place. And so coming back to the landing page, if you scroll all the way down on the landing page, there's actually a section where you can sign up for the mailing list. And here, if you just insert your information, I'll be able to add you to a listserv, and we'll be able to share job opportunities, training opportunities, and all of that. Okay. And back to your question, Walid, around training, really wanted to ask this group maybe for a little bit of input and your thoughts around outreach. So the craft program has been run now for about 7 years, and we've prioritized Regent Park TCHC residents. As the years have gone on, we've had fewer and fewer applicants from Regent Park. So much so that we've had to actually go out to other TCHC communities to find folks to fill those seats. So how can we do better? We host a number of info sessions. We share widely in the WhatsApp groups, in the on all of the community listservs. We share this information at community update meetings. I mean, we really share this wide and work with youth workers to refer people. But we aren't able to fill the seats. And then we end up in situations where we post jobs for our trades that don't get filled because nobody's applied. And so the skills gap we're trying to fill with this program. So how do we fix this outreach gap? Like, how can we do that better?
Excellent question. Fatma, you know what I remember? I remember when the community got together to do a community event and we had all this youth and people show up. And then there was another event that was supposed to also focus on youth regarding skills training, the same thing you're talking about, and no one showed up to that, right? And I remember the news coverage, and I'm like, why is this disconnect? Why is this happening? And what I realized is that it has to be done intentionally, right? The awesome model will be, we had an EED lead as part of the EED roundtable that will be facilitating those opportunities with grassroots organizations to make sure that we have that natural pathway to employment in our community, right? So, folks who are interested in the trades know where to turn to get the support, and we can actually challenge the biases that come with such professions through bringing people who are part of the trades, who are successful. I remember I was walking down King Street and I ran into a young man who is now an elevator technician. He's an elevator technician. He found out about hammerheads through an event that I hosted in the community. He got support through that program through another person of color, because in that profession, there are not many people of color, right? So just even sticking it through mentally and understanding, all the challenges that come with that profession was so important. He makes over $130,000 a year now with benefits. He owns a home. He's a homeowner. And he was so thankful. He's like, Waleed, your intervention changed my life. And now I'm a homeowner and I want to give back. I have that person's contact until today.
So,
right?
Waleed,
So my question, my question is, how are we engaging people from the community?
That's what Fatima is asking. So I'm going to push back a bit. That's what Fatima is asking. We do have Inez's hand up, and we want to give her an opportunity to speak as well, if you don't mind.
Sounds good.
Inez, go ahead. Thank you.
So do you mind just if I finish my point before we go to Inez?
No, let Inez speak and then we can come back to you. But Fatima did ask a very specific question. So let's Inez speak first because she's not spoken. Go ahead, Inez.
Outreach is such a huge, it's very important in this community. Not everybody has WhatsApp. Not everybody has Instagram or all this new technology. We as ourselves in the safety network, we have reached for our training certificate. If you really want those residents involved, you have to put 100% effort, 130, 200, going out door to door, knocking and talking to them, introducing yourself. I know it takes a lot of time. For us, we've done South region and there's others that do North. It takes literally 3 hours to go to door or more. So that for me, outreach is very important if you really want to have the people in those involvement and stuff or join in. And just to catch on what Waleed was saying, Hammerhead, it's good, but it's who you know, because my son went for that and he didn't get it. It's only, they pick who they want. So it's an opportunity for everybody.
Yeah. Inez, if your son wants to do craft this year, tell him to call me.
Well, but the thing is, you know what? If it's through Hammerhead, it's you have to be real, because my son was really
I meant for craft, yeah.
He couldn't get in.
Yeah.
And then he goes, what am I supposed to do? They're picking who they want.
Yeah.
And that shouldn't be that way though.
Yeah.
Right? If you're talking about opportunities to youth, how are you supposed to get opportunity when you don't know that person inside who is getting recruiting those people to take those hammerheads? And it's only like, okay, I know this person, let's go ahead and take it. I don't know this person, so let's leave them behind.
Yeah. Yeah, Inez, I totally understand that. And I think that that's part of, with craft, we've tried to be on the ground as much as possible with that, but I totally agree that there's more that we can do. So in fact, what I'd love to do is, as, our team is working with the College of Carpenters and TCHC this year, FOD has also been working with me on the craft program, and Alma's going to be joining that planning as well. Would love to, come back to this group and ask for some of that support. Maybe we can provide, some, honorariums to help for folks to help support outreach, because it's something that I can go knock on people's doors, but Inez, folks, and you can knock on their doors and you have a connection with them as neighbors. Same thing with you, Waleed. Let's try to do that outreach really intentionally. And I think it's those specific actionable items that I'm looking for, to Gail's point, because Waleed, I think that we agree that we're on the same page, but it's helpful to have like those actionable items, doing that door knocking. We already do like flyering in all TCHC buildings, but what can we do more of? And Waleed, maybe we need to work together, if you're interested, to host a really kick-ass information session. We host them every year. We host multiple ones every year, but maybe with working together with you, we can make it bigger and better.
Yeah, I love that.
So thank you guys. So we're at 50 minutes to go. I want us to, if Fatima can finish this presentation, please, and then we do have some additional items that we want to wrap up.
Yeah.
So can
one last point.
Waleed, please hold your question to the end. I do want us to get through this agenda, please.
Yeah.
We are behind time, and then anything happened to us last week, let us not. Fatima, can you continue?
I'm actually totally done. That was really the end. Fantastic. That was the end of my presentation. So
you'll get your minutes at the end, Waleed, but we want to stay on track. So I'm going to launch a poll question and just get some information from you before we go. So let me know if you can see the poll. And the question is, which option best describes you? And there's a list here, about 6 or 7. Are you a market resident, TCHC resident, or your business, or you're a service provider? You're not a resident of Regent Park. So we can have a better understanding of who is here with us. Okay, so based on what I'm seeing here, we've got about 43% are TCHC residents, 7% are market residents. We have no service providers or agencies outside of Regent Park, but we have 29% service provider agencies supporting Regent Park, and 14% businesses. So excellent, thank you for that. And let me share that result so we can all see it. Actually, didn't realize I could do that. And here it is, the best way for us to share information about upcoming meetings and opportunities. So this is pick many, so pick what you like. I think we've heard a lot about, can't get folks for the craft program, can't get folks for the jobs. So how would you like to hear about information? About upcoming meetings, about opportunities. So you can scroll up or down to see the responses.
I don't think I can see it, Gail. Have you shared it with the group?
Yeah, it's on the screen. Oh. So maybe at the bottom right, click on poll and you'll see the results showing up on the screen. But 100% say email, 46% WhatsApp group, 31% TCHC newsletter. Interestingly, door-to-door mail, 15%. Facebook, 15%. Instagram, 23%. Other social media, 8%. Regent Park newsletter, 23%, and the community app, Ibrahim, is at 38%. Okay, and I've got one more. You bear with me. What would you like to hear about and see at this meeting? Specifically this meeting, what would you like to see? What would you like to hear about at this meeting? Okay, and our last question, which will just be round robin. This is certainly an opportunity for Waleed to share his comments, but we needed to get through the agenda and on time. And as well, if you can in the chat while we're sharing, or Waleed is sharing, what did you like about this meeting? And what would you like to change or improve about this meeting? So certainly you can put that in the chat, but go ahead, Waleed.
Thank you. Yeah, we got about 9 minutes left, so I guess we'll be finishing a bit early today. I just wanted to raise the comment with regards to recruitment, specifically to Fatma with regards to the craft program. I think it's important for us to be intentional in outreach to at-risk youth. I know Healing as One is a great example of that work being done in the community. But what I want us to think about when you're engaging with the Carpenters Association of Ontario, is that the proper acronym, Fatma?
I couldn't find my mouse. Yeah, so it's the training partner is the College of Carpenters and Allied Trades, and it's through the Carpenters Union Local 27.
Perfect.
Okay? That's sort of the partner.
So, for example, are there any systemic barriers, right?
Yeah, so we have actually done, I mean, we have worked on that. So, I mean,
awesome.
It is something that, like, we've worked really closely with youth workers in the neighborhood, whether that's Sarah Rogers or Kenneth or others, to actually outreach. And we have been working with youth at risk through this program. You know, we've had youth apply for this program who have been at risk. We've had youth that have been in conflict with the law while they were in this program. So it's something that we're absolutely familiar with. And the great thing about Local 27, the Carpenters Union, is that the barriers are not very high, right? We know that there's a lot of barriers for sure, but in terms of education level, in terms of, being a youth in conflict, those aren't specific barriers that are super strong for the Carpenters Union generally, but we've made sure to make sure that those barriers don't exist for this program. And the youth that have participated in the program are really a testament to that. So, it is on our radar, absolutely.
Yeah. So I'll be very supportive with an info session. I'd love to work with Ines or anyone who's interested in this. I think it's a great idea. But what I also want to point out is marketing and promotions need to reflect that those youth belong, that members of our community belong. When you have marketing that's designed that doesn't show our diversity, doesn't demonstrate our diversity, it's not welcoming. And then the last thing that we need to reflect on is we had nooses hung on work sites.
Yeah.
Right. So, we need to reject those symbols of hate by actually being very intentional in showcasing BIPOC members of that community belong in the construction and trades industry. So I would like to challenge you to think of any Regent Park resident, and put them front and center. He, she, they, put them front and center of the marketing campaign that we do, so that we could showcase familiar faces, right? Because I think that works. It gives people comfort, knowing that this is doable. This is doable. And they are supports to not just get you through the program, but to retain you in the profession. Because we don't talk about retainment. We like to talk about numbers, who gets hired, but how many of them stay in that profession? How many of them stay in those good jobs so they're able to afford homes, so they're able to afford to live in a very expensive city? So just some context with regards to marketing promotions. But I love the fact that you folks have done this groundwork. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks, Waleed. And I mean, similarly with the marketing and stuff, I think, we've made a real effort to make sure that it is representative, that folks feel, reflected in a poster that they see. So that's something that is absolutely on our radar too. But your point about making that connection more personally to someone from the community is super well taken. And I think we can do a better job of that this year, and happy to work with you on that. Leah, I don't know if your question's for me or generally, sorry.
Yeah, I'll ask my question. So I'm still with the youth. They have a couple questions, but they just went to get water. But in the meantime, I did put a question in the chat. So I'll just ask it. I don't think you guys caught it, but on the conversation with Fouad in terms of the internship, I wanted to know if this group, the group here, Daniels, as well as the EED table, do you guys have mentorship opportunities for youth? Because the youth that I'm with at the moment, they're 15 and 16. So I know they don't have that much experience. So would it be possible, is there I guess vaguely an opportunity for that?
Gail, can I answer that one?
Absolutely.
So yeah, I'm really glad that you have youth in the room. One of the things that, we have, one of the other programs that I didn't get into today because we already had our recruitment cycle for it, is the Moving Toward Opportunity program, which is specifically for grade 11 and 12 youth who are looking for employment opportunities, but also employment training. So that program, if they haven't heard about it, maybe you and I can connect, and I'm happy to share more about that program so that the youth are aware of that program. The program is actually starting this Friday, so we've already gone through all of the recruitment and everything. But would love to have that program on the youth's radar, because it is a 12-week pre-employment training and 8-week summer placement with professional and sort of industrial and institutional employers in the corporate sector. So it's a really great opportunity. So I would love to share that with the youth.
Yeah, that sounds good. And I guess Ismail or Gail or someone that can, and I'm definitely going to connect with you, Fatima. Thank you so much. The youth actually heard you say that, and they got like excited when they heard you say there is a placement in the summertime. And also Gail or Ismail, to that question as well for the EED table or group.
Yeah, well, there is no program that the EED table have. We would have to go out there and look for funding. Great idea. And so I want to look at the other youth organizations and ask, does that exist? So does Healing is one. I know that's a organization that's being talked about in the community. Do they have such a program? Is that something that would fit within their mandate?
Curious from my end, mentorship in regards to any specific area you had in mind, or?
Sorry, nothing specific. I know right now that there's like positions within the community, so whatever exists. Sorry, one sec. So whatever exists, but yeah, nothing specific at the moment. So whatever is like here at the moment for now, whatever already.
Yeah. So I know that Marwan has spoken about involving youth within the SDP network in a formal process, and I know that there's a youth grant coming. So maybe this could be a partnership between the EED table and some of the youth that you're speaking about in terms of bringing them on board as sort of a mentorship around social development within the EED table. Connect with me if that seems interesting to you and the youth.
Okay, sounds good. And then, one last question? So basically the question that youth had was, so they're working on their resumes at the moment and they just wanted to know who they can give their resume. So, okay. Sorry guys.
Hi. Can I hear you?
Could you guys hear?
Yeah, we can hear you.
So, yeah, me and my friend over here, we're just working on like our resumes and trying to apply for like normal 9-to-5 jobs like McDonald's and stuff that we can work at online. But she's telling us that we can get like jobs in the community and there's opportunities for us. So I'm just wondering like what jobs we can get and how we can apply for them and stuff like that.
And since we don't have like much experience, it's harder to get jobs.
Yeah.
Excellent questions.
Thank you.
I mean, I guess I'll put out there, maybe Leah, this is something that we can talk about. If you want to reach out to Alma and I, we can definitely find some time to talk with you as well as the youth. And I'm sorry, I don't know your names, but I'm happy to chat with you about what you're looking for. And, there are a lot of great ways to get experience. And there's a lot of retailers in the neighborhood, for example, that is a great way to gain a lot of experience and a lot of transferable skills. I'm a big fan of that. I started, my working life working retail for like 7 years, and it has made a big difference in terms of the skills I had. So I really recommend it. So we can talk about all of that.
Yes, also Parks First and Recreation is beginning information sessions on rec jobs. They have a lot of different options. There's an opportunity as well. I'll connect with Leah and there's an information session that's happening in March around young people who are interested in working at the community center, at the aquatic center, different opportunities.
Okay, thank you.
Jump in really quickly here, sorry. I wanted to share that we also have some resources on the Tridel website on sort of resume writing, interview, like networking, all that kind of stuff that you can check out. I'm also happy, like Fatima, to have a conversation with you about opportunities. We don't typically hire folks, like we don't have an official program at Tridel for employment for for youth who are under the age of 18, but we do offer career exploration type of opportunities. So if you're interested in marketing, for example, like just an example, happy to connect you with someone in marketing so you can have a conversation about what that career looks like. We do a lot of that stuff around construction, but we also do a lot of it around non-construction jobs as well. So I'll leave it here, and Leah, like, feel free to connect with me afterwards and we can talk more about that as well.
So interestingly enough, this is the sort of, I think Leah is providing an example for us here, where we know that there's young people on the ground who need employment opportunities, but the path to actually getting a job, it's not a 1-2 step. It's not a 1-2 step. Yeah. So there's the on the ground outreach. You identify youth that are interested, and then you have to give them a straight path to an opportunity. It's not enough just to make referrals. And I think that's why some of the best practices is around case management, actually walking the interested person to the job in terms of if they need resume supports, interview supports, and actually getting them on the job interview, and then even following up after the job interview to see that if it's worked, if it's not worked. So that's the part of the project we're working as well, creating that straight pathway, and that we don't miss out, there's no disconnect between someone interested to someone actually getting a job. So this is an example in terms of how we can support members of our community from being interested to actually landing a job. It's not a 1-2 step, and sometimes there are lots of supports that are needed in between.
Well said, Ismail, well said. And so we are at 7:03, so our time is gone. But certainly if we want to stay and have further conversation, absolutely, we can do that. I think, again, if you can provide any comments in terms of how the meeting went, but, we don't want to cut off anyone from speaking, but we also want to allow everyone to have a voice. So please bear that in mind when you take up space to speak as well, that we want to have, there are folks who are maybe not as vocal, and we want to just allow them that opportunity to speak. Iram, I know you had something in the chat. Do you want to ask your question? Do you feel that your question was answered? Iram?
Hi everyone.
Hi.
My question is, do you guys have any volunteer opportunity for grade 9 and 10?
I think Fatima is going to take that.
Yeah, I can. I mean, we don't have, Aram, right now any volunteer opportunities specifically, but it's something that we've talked a little bit about internally, finding opportunities for folks to engage. And maybe that's something that Alma and I can talk about, thinking about how we're preparing young people for employment, like volunteer opportunities are a great way to do that. So maybe we'll take that back and incorporate it into the work that we're doing on sort of our strategy and approach to the workforce development stuff in Regent right now.
Alma, you want to add to your voice there as well? I saw your hand up. I wasn't sure.
No, I was just nodding. Yeah, volunteering is a great opportunity to get skills, one, and then you get to know the people that, within the organization. The number one way that people find employment is from within, growing within the company. Yeah. And so getting those skills and work ethic and all of that is super, super important. I know that it's a sacrifice when you need the money, but it's a great way to get to know the team, to get to know the organization, the HR people, just, small, short-term sacrifice. So great. Yeah. We'll talk about that as well.
And just last thing, sorry about that, Gail. Grade 9 and 10 is a little bit early for MTO, the Moving Toward Opportunity program, but when when you are in touch with the youth or your kids, I think as well are probably around that age, in grade 11 and 12, the Moving Toward Opportunity program is a really fantastic program that creates that opportunity for actual employment, and it's specifically also targeted to Regent Park TCHC residents. So just keep that in mind for maybe next year.
Yeah, I see Naomi's hand. I want to make sure I capture everybody. So I see Leah's hand and Naomi's hand. Leah, is that an old hand or a new hand?
Yes, old hat. I'm going to take it down now. Sorry.
No problem. Thank you, my friend. Naomi?
Sure. Just to add to that, Acorn Arts Project is in the process of developing some sort of volunteer recruitment strategy. So we're not quite ready yet, but you know, as we start to deliver more programming in the community, we do need volunteers to help us out with. So what we do is we offer community arts programming. So you know, if there are some young volunteers, you know, from grade 9 to 12 who are willing to put in some hours, you know, sometimes it's helping, you know, sort through art supplies. Sometimes it's providing program delivery support. So if like the professional artists are in the process of teaching a workshop, you know, it's always nice to have an extra pair of hands on board, or two people who are interested in the arts and who are sort of learning while being with us, while shadowing us, and then who can go and sit, you know, one-on-one with participants around the room and give some advice on how to prepare something, an art form or whatnot, right? So we are definitely building that that aspect of what we do. So there will be opportunities. And again, you know, through these networks, we can let it be known that we are looking for those. Once we have those up and running. Okay. So
yeah, I think there are many paths to employment. And so what I'd say is I work for an organization where there are 100+ job deficit. And we can't find anybody to fill these roles. Now, granted, the roles are technical roles, right? Whether it's a HACCP specialist or marketing lead or whatever those roles are. But there is a deficit, right? And all companies, what we are hearing from companies is that they can't seem to fill their roles. My team, we need four black belts and we can't find any, right? So, and we're a large organization and, you know, we got Michael McCain at the head and still there's a struggle. So obviously there's something happening in the market that certainly is causing a challenge. I think in terms of my own journey, I don't have a degree in anything, and I make a very good income for somebody who doesn't have a degree. And I think, you know, so what I was part of a panel, a part of a group that looked at, we took the organization's website, the hiring practices, the LinkedIn, everything related to hiring, and we provided feedback on that, right? Making it more accessible, making it more diverse. You know, we talked about who leads us, like everything possible, because what we found is that people were saying, you know, great, I work for this company, but I don't feel represented. You know, I'm kind of just coming for the paycheck. And I think, you know, businesses have to get to that point where they're changing kind of the way that they hire, right? And I think that this is kind of what the conversation seems to be here. One, you know, who and how are we hiring and how are people getting to those opportunities? And secondly, what are the opportunities for people who are grade 9 and 10? I don't even know what ages those are, but ages that are under 18, right? What are the opportunities for them to get into the work market? So not everybody is going to walk away with a degree. Not everybody needs to walk away with a degree either to have a good living. And we should, you know, always be working towards having a good living, no matter how. If you want to get a degree and a master's, fantastic, but not every one of us is built that way, right? And there's a lot to be said for lived experiences. So anyways, that's my preaching. That's my 2 cents. It is 7:11. Thank you all for being here.
Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And when you do subscribe, hit the little notification bell so you never miss out on any of our content. If you'd also like more, you can find us on our other social media platforms. And if you want even more, you can look at our website.